Hello, welcome again to the online video lecture series Essentials of MATLAB. This is chapter 3, part 2, Programming in MATLAB. I am Suraj Kamya. So let's move to the contents. So in the last chapter, or we can say the last part of the same chapter, we have studied the M files, the script files and the function files, user-defined functions and inbuilt functions. These two topics we have covered already. So in this part, we will be covering the conditional statements, flow control, more about loops and other programming commands. So let's move to the conditional statement. So in the last chapter we have seen script file and the function file, the difference between the script file and the function file, and this is the basic part of the programming file, that this is the function and the keyword, as according to the three rules. First word must be the function, then file name and the function name must be the same, and the third rule is when you are calling the function must be saved in the current directory. So this is how we can define the function, and we can use percentage to define the comments. So these are about the inbuilt and user defined functions. Okay, so here we will start our new topic of the chapter 3, that is the conditional statements in MATLAB. Basically for the programming we are having total 4 types of keywords, that the if, switch, for and while. And like in the C programming, although we are having do while in the C, but we don't have this thing in the MATLAB. So we are having only the 4 keywords: if, switch, for and while. I will explain the syntax and all other things while we will be doing the examples for these keywords in the MATLAB and the switch. So before starting the programming in MATLAB, so let's discuss some of the key concepts of this programming constructs. In MATLAB, basically we are having 4 kinds of the keywords. First is if and second is switch. So these are the conditional statements. Then we are having for and while. These are the control flow statements. So whenever you will be using any of these keywords, you will be requiring an AND to terminate these keywords. Okay. And one more thing, nesting is allowed to multiple levels. You can nest the any keyword in any other keywords or in itself also, like if in if, or we can say if in while or while in for or for in switch. You can use any keyword in another keyword. Okay. What is the difference between if and switch? What are the kind of problems when we will be using the if and when we will be using the switch? Or we can say how you will decide that for the particular problem given to you, you will be using if and switch. And the same is with for and while. For the control flow statements, how you will decide that whether you have to use for or while. So let's discuss these concepts. There are number of problems where you will be requiring to define a condition, or you have to take decision according to particular condition. So in that case you will be using if. So you can say that if is used for conditions and your basically switch is used for comparison. So this is the basic difference between if and switch. And similarly, if we talk about the for and the while, then for is used for that problems where we know the number of known iterations, and while we are using where we are having unknown number of iterations. Like you have to satisfy some particular condition, and up to that condition you have to compute the particular algorithm. So there is one more important thing about these keywords, that if we talk about the if and the switch, then you can use if as a switch, you can use if as the functioning of switch. It means by using the if you can also perform the condition problems, and you can also perform the comparison problem. But vice versa is not true. You cannot use the switch as the if. And similarly, if we talk about the for and while, you can use while as the for, but you can never use for as a while. You can't use this thing. For as a file cannot be possible. So if you are having only if and while, we can solve our all kind of programming problems, but still you are having 4 keywords, so you can use these keywords efficiently. Okay, so let's move to the MATLAB. This is the MATLAB's environment. So let's just start the script file. using the keyword edit. Okay, so let's first see the use of the if. Okay, suppose the question is I want to have an input from the user, so you will be using input as a keyword and you will be writing like enter a value. Okay, so when you will be executing this command on the command window, so this keyword input will ask user to enter a input and this text will be shown on the command window. So whatever the value is entered by the user will be stored in the variable x. So let's see, the question is we have to check that whether particular number given by the user is equal to 5. That's it. We want to check only this thing. So you will be writing if, then you will be writing x. For the comparison, you will be using the double equal to 5, and then you will be display the result, display equal. Okay, that's it. We have to do this program. Okay, so that's it. Okay, so as per the syntax, we must use the AND keyword to complete this if loop. So you will be writing AND. Okay, and just save your program. Okay, so let's run this program. When you will be run this program, so it is asking you a number. Suppose I have entered 6. It's not showing anything because it is not defined. So let's run it again. Let's, now my value is 5. Enter. It's showing it is equal. Okay, so okay, so here you can use the brackets or not, it's up to you, but it will not give you any kind of the error. So let's move to the another problem. Suppose if we have to define that whether the particular number is equal or not equal. So let's edit this program. You will be using the else and then display, simply writing not equal. Okay, so you know this thing, when we are using else, you need not to define any kind of the conditions. So we have to just save this program and just run the program. Okay, suppose I'm entering 7. Okay, now it's showing not equal, and if I'm entering 5, it will be showing it's equal. Okay, so I should write CLC and clear so that we can have clean interface. Okay, so now we can enter manually, it's equal. Okay, so let's move to the next program. In this problem, in the next problem, we can say we have to find out that whether a particular number is greater than 5, less than 5, or equal to 5. Okay, so this program can be done in the various ways. So you can either use the nested if or you can also use the else if. So we will be using the else if. Else if, in the else if you have to define one more condition. So let's write, let's change something here. If x greater than 5, you have to show greater. Okay, and else if x less than 5, you have to show smaller number. Okay, and in the end else you have to show display the number is equal. Okay, so that's it. Just save the program and again run the program. So now you have to enter a value. Suppose I have entered 8, so it's showing our value is greater. So let's enter 3, it's showing our value is smaller, and if you enter 5, it will show you that our value is equal. Okay, so let's move to the next program. Suppose if user enters a number and we have to define it, like if the number is in particular range. Suppose if the number is in range 5 to 10, then we have to show that the number is in range, otherwise we have to show it's not in range. Okay, So this program can also be done in multiple ways, so we will be discussing all the ways for this program. So first of all, we can use this thing if, okay, we can use brackets. Always if x greater than equal to 5 and x less than equal to 10. Okay, so this double and means this condition and this condition must be true. Okay, then only it will execute the remaining part of the condition. Okay, so you will be displaying that this number is in range. Okay, and else you will be writing not in range. Okay, just type and save your program. So let's see output of the program. So now I have entered 8, so it's showing in range, and suppose if I have entered 3, showing not in range. Okay, so this was very simplest program. Okay, so let's just write this program by using other alternate way. So if we are writing if x greater than 5, or we can say greater than equal to 5, then we have to use one more if x less than equal to 10, you have to display in range, and we will be using else for this if, that display not in range. Okay, and one and will be for this if, and let's write the else for the another one, display not in range. Okay, and just we have to type enter for this if. Now this program is okay. Let's run this program. So if our value is 7, so it's showing in range, and if our value is 2, it's showing not in range, and if our value is some greater, it's also showing not in range. Okay, so we are having one more alternate way to do this program. So let's change the algorithm. If we are writing if x is less than 5, we can say display not in range. Okay, and we are defining one more condition, else if x greater than 10, then we can also say that not in range, or we can say else display in range. Okay, so let's save our program and run this thing. So let's enter the value 7, it's in range. Let's enter 2, it's not in range. Okay, so let's enter some bigger value, 50, so it's not in range. So in this way we can define the particular number in the range or not. So we have seen that for any kind of program we can have a number of ways to solve that program. So that depends upon the particular individual, that what are the ways he will be using to solve that program. So let's suppose we have to create a program where user will be entering a number from 1 to 7. If the number is between 1 to 7, so we will be giving the answer. For 1 is Monday, for 2 Tuesday, and so on. For 7 it is Sunday, and if the number is not from the range of 1 to 7, then we will say that it's not a day. Okay, so we will be using switch. Although we can do this program using the if also, but we are using switch here to define the syntax and use of the switch. So we'll be using switch. You can say x, because in the x we are having our value, and just put an end for this switch. Okay, so we're writing case 1. Okay, so if user enters the value as a 1, you will be defining it as a Monday, and then the next case will be Next case will be 2, and that you can define as a Tuesday. And similarly you can define all the cases, and the last you will be using the otherwise. So if any of the condition doesn't match, so you will be writing not a day number, not a day number. Okay, so let's just run this program. So you will be running this program. If we are writing 5 showing Friday, and similarly you can write any value 1 Monday, and if you are writing suppose 0, so it will be showing not a day. Okay, so basically what is the concept behind this program? So whatever value user have entered by this command will be stored in the x, and we are having the value of x here. So this x value will be compared with this one, with this one, with this one, and so on. And if the value is not matched with anyone, so it will show you the result of the otherwise function. Okay, so you can solve this program also by using the if, like if x is equal to 1, it is Monday. If x is equal to 2, it is a Tuesday. And you can use else for the otherwise. So you can create a program by multiple ways. Okay, so let's move to the for loop. Now the problem is, suppose we want user to enter a matrix, and we have to check each and every element one by one, and we have to check that whether particular element is even or odd. If the element is even, you have to multiply it with 5, and if the element is odd, you will be multiplying, oh sorry, you will be dividing it by 5. So if it is even, multiply by 5. If it is odd, divided by 5. So let's write program for this thing. Suppose you're writing x input. So here we will be having the input from the user. You can say enter a matrix. Okay, so now let's save this program. Just okay, so just tell me one thing. When user will be entering any matrix, so you will be using the for loop or the while loop, because user can enter any kind of the matrix or any dimension of the matrix. So if you know the number of iteration for that matrix, or if you know the number of elements in the matrix, then you can use the for loop in this case only. So yes, we can find out easily the dimension of the matrix using lots of function we have already discussed, like numeral and size and length. So we will be using numeral here, numeral, okay, and of x. So it will tell you the number of element in the x. So we will just write a for loop. Okay. So as in the C program, if we are writing the for loop, you have to define three things. First, you have to initialize the variable, then you have to define the condition, then you have to increment or decrement that particular variable. Okay, so these three things can be done in one single expression in the MATLAB. So let's see how. If you are writing I is equal to 1 to n. Okay, so let's analyze this expression. We have initialized our variable to I is equal to 1, and we have defined our condition that we want to go to n, from 1 to n, and by this colon operator we defined our the increment operator, because it is already defined in the chapter 2 that chapter 1, that when we are using the colon operator, so by default the step size is plus 1. Okay, and you can also change the step size using the double colon operation here. So let's just write our program. Okay, we know the dimension of the matrix, and we have defined the for loop also. Now the thing is, we have to check that whether particular element is even or odd. So if you want to check that element, so we'll be using the remainder as very conventional method. We'll be writing if, okay, remainder, rem is the function for the remainder, if x of I comma 2, it means remainder of this element by 2 is equal to 0. It means it is an even number, it is an even number, and we will be multiplying it with the 5, so it will overwrite the value. So we will be writing x of 5 multiplied, okay, and else it will be an odd number, so in that case we will dividing it by the 5. Okay, let's just put an end for the if we have used already here. Let's remove this semicolon so that we can show the input here, and let's write x again so that we can see the change output. Okay, this program is done, and let's just run this program. Okay, now we have to enter a matrix, and let's enter. So this is your 2 by 2 matrix, and just press enter. Okay, so this is an odd number, so it is divided by the 5. It is an even number, so it is multiplied by that 5. Similarly, all the numbers are executed in the particular manner. Okay, so as you know that MATLAB compute the matrices in the column wise manner. Okay, so first it have processed 1, then 5, then 2, and then 6. Okay, suppose if we want to change the manner of the operation, we want MATLAB to compute our matrix row by row. So we want it to compute like first it should compute 1, then 2, then 5, and then 6. Okay, so there are basically two ways. First way is you can use a transpose for this thing. Okay, now uh, let me rewrite again the matrix. Suppose the matrix is this. Okay, and we have write y is equal to x dash. Okay, if we have provided this matrix to the program, but actual matrix is this, so MATLAB will compute it column wise 1, 2, 5, and 6, but actually it is row wise for us. Okay, so at the end when we will be having the answer, we will retranspose the value again, so this problem can be solved easily. And there's a one more alternate way to solve this, and we can say that is a more better way. Okay, so if this is your matrix and you want to compute it by 1, 2, 5, and 6, so what is the address of this element? 1 comma 1, 1 comma 2, 2 comma 2, sorry, 2 comma 1, and 2 comma 2. So we have to compute this matrix in this way. Okay, so first we have to compute the row and the column of the matrix. Suppose m is the row and is the column. So we will be writing the size here. Okay, and we will be defining the one more loop because there are two variables that are changing. We will be writing for I uh, j is equal to 1 to n. Okay, and we have to also change the if here, and then put an n for the above loop. Okay, now it's okay. Here is only the green. Okay, now let's change this thing to x of I comma j. Okay, so without going it for manually for every value, you can just press Ctrl F and write x of I here and x of ij here. Okay, and press replace all. So all the values are replaced here. Okay, so now this program will go row by row. Let's run this program. So again we are having this, and this is the answer. Okay, note one thing, that the answer is not changed, and at this case, at this point, you will not be worried that whether MATLAB is going row wise or column wise, but in the later chapters there are some problems when we will be requiring the MATLAB to compute the row wise. So in that case we will be using these methods. Okay, for just now I have just defined the row wise operation of the matrix, or you can say the nesting of for loops also. Okay, so let's just move to the next keyword, that is the while. Okay, okay, now you have to choose, you will be using the for or while for the particular problem. Suppose we want to create a password protected system, that user will be entering some password and the system will ask the password again and again until the password is correct. Okay, so we don't know in this case that whether user will provide the answer for the first time, or maybe it can take 2 or 3 times or 50 times. That depends upon the user. Okay, so we have to just create a system which will ask the user the password again and again until the password is correct. Okay, so you will be writing while, so let's just change here, enter password. Okay, enter password. Okay, now suppose the password is already defined by you is 56. Okay, so while x is not equal to 56, you will show him that password is wrong. Okay, password is row. Okay, and if the x is equal to 56, then outside the loop you will be defining password accepted. Okay, so this is the program. Okay, there's a one more thing. Just analyze this program and can you tell me, is there any error or not? Actually, there is an error. So if you run this program will go infinite time. Okay, so let's analyze how it will go infinite time. So user will be entering some password in the x. Suppose user have entered value 5. So now 5 is not equal to 56. So it will display password is wrong, and it will come back to the while and it will again compare the value of x. Now the value x is not changed in the every loop. So it will again repeat and repeat and it will go infinite time. So what you will do, you have to again ask the user to enter the password again. So we'll be writing input enter password again. Okay, so that's it. Now the program is okay. Let's just run this thing. Okay, so user have entered 5. It's again asking, again asking, again asking, and suppose if we have entered 56, now the password is accepted. Okay, so this was all about the while loop, for loop, and the conditional statement. But there are two more keywords that are break and the continue. So break is basically used to terminate execution for or while loop by using the if statement, and continue is used to pass control to the next iteration for the loop. Okay, so let's analyze these conditions. Okay, so now for the same program the scenario is quite changed. Okay, suppose you have created a password practice system and you have provided it to the user. Now if the user forget the password and he will come to you that open my system, so now what you will do? Okay, so one remedy is you can provide him a master password. Okay, so let's create master password. So we will be simply writing, if suppose your master password is 0, if x is 0, you will say just break. Okay, and write end to enter the if loop. So when user will be entering the password, if it is equal to 56, password will be accepted. Okay, and if user forgot the password, he will come to you and you will enter the x is equal to 0. So when x is 0, so it will come to this point. Now x equal to 0. Now it will break. Break means it will terminate the loop outside the if, that is the while loop. It will terminate this loop and it will come outside this. Control is passed to the this statement. So it will say the password is accepted. So let's run this program. Now password is entered 4. Now it's again saying wrong password 6. Okay, let's enter 0. So it's password accepted. Okay, so in this way you can solve lots of programming concepts, and the basic thing is that the four keywords that we have studied here, if, switch, for, and while, these are the basic building blocks of any programming language to solve any kind of the problem. If you know how to create a logic, then syntax is not a problem. If you know how to create a logic for any kind of problem, you can solve your programming problems in any language. If you don't know that language, syntax is not a big problem, but the main thing in the concepts is creating the logics. Okay, and that will not requiring the programming skills, that will require mind, or we can say analytical mind, to solve that logic. So you should provide some more time to yourself for practicing this session. We can say I will provide the extra question apart from the workbook also, so that you can practice your logical skills in MATLAB. Okay, so thank you very much.